Hello there, folks. Welcome back. You're watching the United Kingdom's Speedrunner Gathering. Normally, we're a 2-day speedrunning marathon held 4 times a year in Glasgow, Scotland. But due to the situation with COVID-19, we are bringing you 3 days of exciting speedruns from the comfort of our own homes to yours. And now we have our next run. Looking forward to this. It's going to be Klonoa 2 by NickRPGreen. Nick, take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, I am NickRPGreen. Welcome. And this is Klonoa 2 Lunatea's Veil. I highly consider this one of the unsung heroes of the PlayStation 2 era. Not many people knew about it, but it is one of the highest rated platformers on the system. It's an absolutely lovely game. So, we've got a new save file created. Now, one of the interesting things about this run is I'm doing an any percent run, and any percent isn't actually the most popular run. The most popular run is actually called any percent popcorless, and we'll learn a bit more about that soon. But it does mean that I'm running with 2 controllers. I am on a play. I've got a DS4 here, but that is because I've got a converter. I am playing on a PlayStation 2. All right, so. The timer will start as soon as I hit the button for this save complete. So let's get going in 3, 2, 1, go! And they're off. So, Klonoa Works presents Klonoa 2, Lunatea's Veil. Now, this particularly early on. It's not an exactly taxing run. There's not going to be too much sort of over-the-top stuff going on, but it will pick up as we move along. So this is the Sea of Tears. This is the very first level of the game, and you can see behind me I'm being followed by this little flying dog-like thing. This, my friends, is Popka, and he's actually going to give us a little tutorial there that we're gonna skip. And that tutorial there was just him explaining how we do that jump there. So the core mechanic of Klonoa 2 is that we grab enemies and we use those enemies to do other things, either throw them at other enemies or throw them at objects, such as this one here. So we've grabbed this guy. I'm going to throw him at that block, and the block is going to break. We can also use those enemies, as you saw a few moments ago, to double jump. And throughout the run, we're going to meet new enemies along the way, and some of them will have different powers. That one on the left, which I have completely ignored, that one, if I grabbed him, I would hover in the air for a few seconds. So we'll see some really, really nice mechanics coming through. There's some puzzle mechanics later on with some of the more interesting enemies that come along. Now we're on a little bit of an auto-scroller. So I talked about Popka. I talked about that this run is just any percent and not popcorless. And as you can guess, the reason why this isn't a popcorless run is because I have Popka following behind me. You can see him there. And that is what Popka does. Popka gives Klonoa a boost up into the air. I'll try and find a suitable location to do that here, just like that. So that is a Popka jump, and that is performed by pressing square on the second controller. So I'm going to grab that checkpoint just to be on the safe side. So push square on the second controller. Popka jumps up into pushes Klonoa up into the air. Now, as you can imagine, the reason why this isn't the most popular of the Klonoa 2 runs is because we have to have a second controller available at all times. So I have to hold one controller in both hands and then have the second controller just on my desk with my index finger just hovered over the top of it. I only need 2 buttons. I obviously need the square button to... I obviously need the square button in order to perform the jump, but at the start of every level I have to press start, because that's what causes Popka to jump in and out. So at the very start of the level, I'll hit start, Popka will jump out, and then I just need to be ready to hit square. And as this run goes on for about an hour and 45 minutes, you can start to feel it in your hand a little bit. after a while. Particularly if you know, when I've done streams and I've done runs of this like 2 or 3 times in a row, ooh, my hands start to feel it. Okay, so we're going off to the second level here. This is Liquisha. The guy that we just went and visited, his name is Bagaji. He has an island all to himself. We're going to revisit that island a lot, but it's not a level. Every single time we go to Bagaji's island is just for a bit of story, just for a cutscene. And luckily we can skip all the cutscenes, which is nice. Liquisha is your first real sort of introduction to how beautiful and lovely the world of this game can be. You know, the music is sublime. It's all, you know, it's all very pretty and lovely to look at and listen to. It's one of the things that made me fall in love with this game in the first place. But as we're going through a section where I missed that jump. Silly. There we go. We're gonna very shortly come across one of our first sort of special things that we can do, and we're gonna do a few times throughout the run. The perspective that we're playing the game in is often referred to as 2.5D. It was a term that Crash Bandicoot quite famously sort of really brought into the forefront of gaming. And there have been a lot of good examples of other games that have done it as well. Because this game's in 2.5D, so we usually run left to right, but occasionally we can sort of interact with the forward and backwards. We can do some funky stuff with the environment, and the first example of this is going to be right here. So if I grab this moo as it spawns... Nope, missed it. If I grab this moo instead, what I can do is I can jump and use Popcar to just skip that little bit there by just sort of ignoring the boundaries and abusing the 2.5D to move a lot faster than I'm supposed to. We'll see this happen a few times throughout the run. A little cutscene here. This is the priestess's statue. We are currently, for story purposes, we are currently on our way to see the head priestess to find out what's going on. There's a great darkness and sorrow in the world, and no one's really sure why or what's going on. Whoops. There we go. We can again abuse the 2.5D there as well. And so we're going to go and see the priestesses and see if they can give us any answers as to what's going on. The reason I went back and grabbed that guy is so that he respawns here and I can take him with me into the next room. So as soon as I get into this room, I can throw at that. So again, this is a really good example of how the 2.5D is supposed to be used in the game. So we're moving left and right, but we're still interacting with the forward and backwards sides, and sometimes the perspective will shift. We will run away from the camera, we will run towards the camera, and we'll see some of that soon. So we get to the priestesses, and the priestess tells us that we need to go and find all of the bells in all of the kingdoms, and if we ring the bells in all of the kingdoms, then we will receive an element, and we can use that element, combine all of those elements, and hopefully it will solve all the sadness in the world. There's a very, very vague explanation of the plot. Right, we're coming up to Klonoa Temple, and this is our first boss of the game. And the bosses in this are pretty typical. We have a typical arena-style battle. Falgerian here has a nice glowing weak spot for us to throw moves at. It's nice and easy to know where I'm supposed to throw these things. I'm not getting a great pattern. This could be a lot faster. The levels throughout the game, there's no RNG in the game, except for the bosses. The bosses are very RNG heavy. It's like exactly where these flying moves are going to spawn next is a big one. This could be so much faster if these moves were spawning right next to me, but they haven't. So this has been a little slower than I would have liked. But we got one more hit. That glowing weak spot. Oh, and I missed it. Oh, and I missed that. And I'm going to have to go around. Come on. There we go. Okay, so that's Falgerian. And as I say, this is quite a typical style for the bosses, where we're in this sort of circular arena. That there, just that we skip past there, that is our main antagonist. That is Liquisha and her assistant Tat. And we're going to get to know Tat very well in these next few levels. But we've defeated the boss, we've met our antagonist. Now it's time to go back to Bagagy to learn what to do next. So now's probably a really good time for any messages or donations.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. We'd like to remind you are watching United Kingdom Speedrun The Gathering, raising money for Crisis. We would also like to thank BSG for supporting this marathon. They hold bi-monthly gatherings in the Netherlands, and they have supported UKSG from the beginning by spreading the word and providing us with a channel to stream on in past sessions, among other things. Mark your calendars, their next event is coming very soon, streamed on this very channel, so you won't need to go very far to watch it. Also, do you want to get updates for when our marathons go live and when your favourite runs are coming up? Well, follow us on Twitter at UKSG Marathon. And also, if you use the hashtag #UKSGAutumn21, you may be featured on the stream. Remember, all your donations go towards Crisis. Please get them in. We've got $740. Let's see if we can get towards that $1,000 mark. Thank you very much.
Whoop. All right, so here we come on to the other style of level that we're going to see throughout the game. These are generally called slider levels. This is the first one, Jungle Slider. And the first one, there isn't really anything particularly special about it. It is just trying to get through without getting hit. I am holding right on the D-pad because that makes Klonoa go slightly faster. We're also going to see some of that 2.5D switching into the forward and backward here. So right here, you can see the camera shifting to go in front of Klonoa, and Klonoa is now riding towards the camera. So it's really good the way they use the environment and change things up. And it's the same as the original game. Again, the name implies Klonoa 2 is the sequel to the PlayStation 1 game, Klonoa Door to Phantomile, which to this day I've never actually finished. I've played it, and I've also played the Wii remake that they made a few years later, but I've never finished either of them. There are also a couple of Game Boy Advance games in the series called Dream Champ Tournament and Dream Champ Tournament 2, which I have played and finished both of those, and those were very, very good as well. Provides a very nice blend of action, platforming, and puzzles, which we haven't really seen any puzzles yet, but they are coming. I do have Popka out. You can't see him because he sort of trails behind the camera. We don't really use him in this one. We don't really use him at all in the slider levels. Later on, we'll have some slider levels where we could fall off the edge, and Popka then becomes very, very helpful to avoid, as a safety net. If we do slightly fall off the edge, we can use Popka to get ourselves back on track. I'm gonna grab a surfing move for you there. Just have him look at his little happy face. He's so happy to be kidnapped. He's really like that's Stockholm syndrome right there. He is so and he's gone. Never mind. Poor little chap. He was so happy. All right, we're gonna bypass all of this stuff here. The gems that you're seeing, these are very equivalent to Sonic rings or Mario coins, the usual sort of collectibles that you see. There's another collectible as well. It's this one here that I just grabbed, which I didn't need. Those are called Momet dolls, and they unlock some bonus levels and things later. Of course, if you're going for a 100% run, which 100% category does exist as well, then we would be trying to get every single Dreamstone and every single Momet doll. This is Tat. This is Liquisha's assistant. Before we started this level, we reached the bell in Joliant, which is the kingdom we're currently in, and Tat stole, without us realising, Tat stole the element from us that we'd already collected, and then split off into two parts. So there is now a black black tap running around here and a white tap running around in the fun park, and we have to chase them both down and get the element back. Come on. There we go. Now, we had a choice as to whether we went to Jungle Slider or went to Julian Fun Park. It doesn't matter which way you go, the other tap always has the element. So, unfortunately, we caught the black tap, and the black tap did not have the element, so now we have to go into Julian Fun Park itself, find white tap, who will have the element. And this is another really, really nice level. It really gives you that sort of joyful, fun vibe around the theme park and other things. I won't spoil it. We've got another little tutorial here, which we're going to completely ignore, because we're not even going to do it. We're just going to use Popka to jump up here. We're going to use Popka again to just get around that bit there. And we're going to come across our first puzzle mechanic. And our first puzzle mechanic is a switch. Very simple. Hit a switch, open a door. I know, this is revolutionary stuff that you never expect to see in any video game. We've got an enemy here, which I struggled to grab. And he's going to launch us up into the air. And then we're going to fly back down to Earth. And then we've got a helicopter enemy here. We can use him to hover over. This is what I was talking about at the very start. We'll come across lots of different enemies that do different things. Now we're going to cross this bridge. There's Tap. We're slowly catching up. If only there was a way to get over this bridge quicker. Oh, well, that's convenient. There's now a hole in the bridge. Silly Tat thinking that they're slowing us down by breaking down the bridge. And actually we can, is very, very helpful. Right, so now we are in a classic haunted house. No theme park is complete without a haunted house. Which Klonoa has no issue with haunted houses. Neither does Popka. There is one other companion on our journey, and her name is Lolo. I don't think, with how quickly we skip cutscenes, I don't think you ever actually get a glimpse of Lolo. But she's inside the ring that Klonoa is carrying. Every time I fire my wind bullet, that is actually Lolo doing that for us. Grab the checkpoint just to be on the safe side. Struggle to grab that as well. Should point out that to this day, I still have not had a deathless, an unintentional deathless run, I should say. There's a level later on where I will be intentionally dying for a specific glitch to work. But outside of those, I've still never had a run where I haven't had an unintentional death. So, I mean, today could be a first. You never know. So, thanks to Popka, we can skip most of the mechanics of that puzzle by just completely ignoring half of it. Fly over the top here, and we are going to have our first mini boss. This is just a little boss that appears in the middle of a level. And it's some sort of monster in a coffin. What could it be? Who could have done this? I guess we'll never know. We'll never know what was in the coffin. Oh, it was Tap. It was just Tap. All along. Alright. We're finally going to have our showdown with Tap. Just after we do an extremely dangerous and foolhardy action of running down a roller coaster track. Now, kids, if you're watching at home, do not go to your local theme park and run on the roller coaster tracks. It is very, very dangerous. This game does not teach you good life lessons. We're going to go in this cannon. We're finally, as I say, face off against Hat. You can't escape us now. There she is. After her. Oh, is she going to put up a fight? Is she going to... Oh, she is. Oh, Christ, she is going to put up a fight. There we go. And another level done. All right. So, with us now securing the element, we are now going to go and ring the bell. We're going to go back to the center of the plaza. We've got the element. We can go and ring the bell and get the next element. Surely nothing is going to get in our way now. What could possibly happen? We're coming to the end of this kingdom. Surely there's nothing that could stand in the way. There we go. It's right there. Oh no, we've got the next boss, and this is Lepto the Flower Clown. Lepto is my favourite and least favourite boss at the same time. Design-wise, he's my favourite because he is very silly, he's very funny, I love the noises he makes. But for an actual fight, he is a nightmare. If anything in this fight goes wrong, you lose so much time. That phase 1 there was a little slow. The moves didn't really spawn in good locations for me. But as he was spinning around, if he'd slowed down and stopped, he'd have gone back into the middle and we'd have had to start that whole bit again. And that's where we lose a lot of time. And now here we need to use the 2.5D again to throw a move across the arena. And again, it's all random as to where these moves appear, where Lepto jumps to, sometimes which attacks Lepto uses, but hopefully here... Oh, he's a bit further away than I thought. There we go. All right, we've got one more hit, and then Lepto is down. Where's he going? Where's he going? Ahoy, hoy, 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 hoy! He's so funny. He's so funny, but he's such an annoying boss to fight. But that is Lepto the Flower Clown. I'm gonna skip the cutscene. They go, ring the bell, grab the next element, and of course back to Bagagy for our next bit of story. So Tiny Tim, take it away.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. We're currently sitting on $740 raised for Crisis. Remember that all of your donations do go towards that amazing cause, and we do have some incentives that you can put your donations towards. We are currently still needing another $45 out of the 100 needed to bring Tails for the Sonic 1 Forever run, and that will upgrade the run to include Tails, who, as any Sonic runner knows, is incredibly helpful during the run. So please, if you want to see a little flying fox buddy, get those donations in for that. And we also have a super secret bonus game, $205 out of 500 needed for that. That will take place on Sunday after Celeste. So if you want to see what that is, and I'll give you a clue, it's fast. Well, kind of. Then get your donations in for that. Remember, all your donations go towards supporting Crisis. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. As I've got a little doggy following me around, absolutely you should be trying to get a flying fox to follow Sonic around. So yeah, get that incentive met, guys. All right, we now go to a very, very contrasting kingdom. So we've just come from Joliant. Joliant is the kingdom of fun, of bright lights and colours and wonder. We are now in Volk. Volk is aptly named the City of War. The citizens of Volk are always at war with each other, and they don't know why. Nobody knows why they're always at war, but they always are. And as a result, the whole area is very sort of industrial and grimy, and as I say, a complete world away from the wonder and colour that we just saw in Joliant. But the one thing it does have is a very, very catchy jazz tune. I really do like this bit of music. So this first level, to explain again a bit about what's actually going on, we've arrived at Volks City Hall, and in Volks City Hall we've found the bell. But unfortunately, the bell is surrounded by a mysterious machine. And of course, who is operating that machine? It's Liarina and Tats. And inside the machine is another ring. The same style of ring that Klonoa is carrying, that Lolo and Popka normally reside in. Liarina is trying to create her own. So the only way that we can stop the machine is to switch off the power in the city. So there are 2 power generators, one in the main city centre, which is where we're headed to right now, and one in the underground factory, which we will visit shortly afterwards. We're going to come across a new enemy type here. This little electric guy, who when we jump up in the air gives us a huge burst of electricity. He's really, really cool, but we're going to ignore him for the second jump. We're also going to ignore him here. We're just going to use Popka. The big advantage of Popka here, we just use him whenever it is convenient to skip grabbing enemies, doing puzzles, things like that. This one we do actually need to keep, because we need him to blow through those boxes. And you might hear that the music is a little bit dynamic as well. So as we're underground at the moment, it's very sort of low key. But as we then come back out, it really sort of picks up, and you get those trumpets and all the other wonderful sounds. Now we've got a large section of these bounce pads coming up, and we're going to be trying to use Popka to skip as many of the bounce pads as we can. That one, first of all. Basically, if we're having to stop and wait for a bounce pad, maybe stopping to fall down onto one, then we're doing something wrong. We should be keeping Klonoa moving in his intended direction as much as possible. Now, again, we've got another section of bounce pads. We're going to try and avoid everything that we can. So we've avoided a whirlwind, we've avoided a bounce pad. Unfortunately, we do have to wait for that one. That gets us across here. Same again here. We're going to just go straight up to there. Let the whirlwinds take us. And we'll just use Popka there just to make sure we land on this. You may have noticed there's a couple of times where I've done like a little hover, or what I like to call the wiggle in the air, where Klonoa like flaps his ears, and it just keeps his gives him a little bit of extra height. We try and use Popka as much as we can to avoid having to use that, because it is quite slow. Again here, we just use Popka to just skip some of the puzzles and some of the other platforming sections. I think going back to any percent and any percent Popculous, I think Popka saves about 5 to 10 minutes overall. It's not a huge thing, but it is really nice, and it makes the run a bit more interesting because I have to use 2 controllers, and that sort of gives it somewhat of an interesting spin on it. Of course, the idea, the implementation of Popka into the game is, this is a game designed for children. So Popka was there, so if you're playing the game and you're struggling, you get your little brother or sister to jump on the other pad and just give you a little push. It's the Popka being in the game is the equivalent of Tails, someone using Tails on the second controller to help Sonic out. Just you don't have as much control. All you have is a big jump. I remember playing this as a kid, and when we only had one controller, we'd use a PlayStation 2 DVD remote to control Popka. That was fun. All right, we're in the underground factory, and the underground factory is probably the first level we really start to see some interesting glitches and some other really, really cool methods of using Popka and using some of the environment. We can skip all of these floating platform sections just by going underneath. Then here, I'm gonna not trying to. Oh no, got that wrong. Hang on. There we go. So I'm deliberately holding on to this move so that we've got two of these big things there, so we can throw that and get straight across. And let's jump across. We've got our first introduction to keys. These are quite simple. Grab a key and it'll open the next door. Alright. I'm going to grab that just to be on the safe side. And this is the first room where we really start to do some funky stuff. So we're going to reuse that move, that exploding move, to try and hit this next switch quickly. And I got it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make an object in the game despawn. If I can do it right. Which I can't. I'm actually wasting more time. Let me wait for the next one. Oh, come on. Alright, this is going to take too long. If I'd done all of that correctly, this door that's on the right here wouldn't have spawned. But unfortunately, I just couldn't quite get the jump correct. Basically, you need to try and keep up in the air for as long as possible. And the trigger for that door to load in just doesn't happen. Unfortunately, as I say, because I just couldn't quite get that first jump right. It is a bit tricky. We do still have to go and grab the key. Doesn't add on too much time. Got that. There's another trick coming up in the next room where we can try and throw a moo across the room and explode a block quickly. This is very, very tricky. And I haven't got it. I don't think I've ever actually managed to get that into a run. It is a very, very precise throw. Basically, these moves have a specific travel time. If they travel through the air for a certain amount of time, they will just explode. And the idea behind that throw there that I did is that you try and throw the move so that it explodes just as it reaches the block. As I say, it's a very, very precise trick. I've never managed to get it. I've done it in practice, but I've never managed to get it into a run. As we move on through the factories, of course, this is Volk, the Kingdom of War. So of course they're building giant bombs and weapons and things like that. What else would a warring kingdom be building? And now we have our first little on-rail section. Not really a lot happens in these on-rail sections. Klonoa just sort of, we just run around and jump over some steam. We're going to come across another mini-boss in just a second. But now's a good time for a small story about how I got into Klonoa in the first place. Cast your minds back, viewers. Cast your minds back to when you first got your PlayStation 2. If, of course, you had a PlayStation 2. To those who don't have a PlayStation 2, or didn't have a PlayStation 2, then I'll try and paint you a picture. You get your PlayStation 2, you open it up out of the box, plug it all in, you go back to the box, grab the controller, and what's that? There's a disc. There's a disc in the box. You got a game. But no, you didn't get a game. What you got was, of course, a demo disc. And I'll talk more about the demo disc after this mini-boss. So this is Tat again, who just waiting for good times to throw moves at. She's not being very nice to me. I'm gonna have to try. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. There we go. She was not staying up. She was not staying up at all there. It can be quite risky to throw one when she just bounces straight up and down again, because it's very, very easy to miss. But usually she pops up and sticks around for a lot longer. Anyway, going back to the demo disc. You open up your PlayStation 2 and you find you've got a demo disc. you can't wait to see what wonderful demos are on there. And for me, when I got my PlayStation 2, on that demo disc was Klonoa 2 Lunatea's Veil. We're going back a good 20 years here, folks. And the demo disc was some of the very first level, which was the Sea of Tears, and some of the Jungle Slider level. And I really enjoyed it, but someone who enjoyed it even more than me was my mother. And she played that demo quite a lot. And one day when she was out shopping, she spotted Klonoa 2 I think she spotted it in a supermarket. It wasn't even a game shop. It was just in the supermarket. Back when supermarkets quite often sold video games. And she picked it up for herself and for me and my brother to play. And, you know, I fell in love with it. And 20 years later, I'm still playing it and speedrunning it. Yeah, that's how I got into Klonoa 2. So I'm sure she probably isn't, because she's not really into video games these days. But if my mother is watching, thanks, Mum. All right, we are now at the end of the level. So Klonoa is going to go and switch off the power in here. Excuse me. Clear my throat. And we're going to head back to the town hall, where, I mean, you can probably guess what's going to happen next. We're going to try and ring the bell, but something's going to stop us. We have, of course, our next boss. This one is probably my favourite boss because there's almost no RNG in this boss. It's very, very straightforward. This is the mobile tank Biscar. And he's very, very simple. We're just gonna get hit by the not moving enemy. Just gonna grab these moves, bounce off a move so that the move flies downwards and hits him. And in phase 2, he'll do something slightly different, but we're still going to do the same thing to defeat him. But one more hit, and we get into phase 2. There we go. So he's now going to jump all the way to the back of the room. As soon as he starts moving, going to bounce on that bounce pad. For another one. He's going to jump up in the air again. He's going to throw some missiles at me, but that's not going to be a problem. And he's going to go back across the other side of the room again. And we've got one more hit. And that's done. This is why I really like the mobile tank. There's just no RNG. There's no reason you can't get that fight right every time. So it's much nicer than some of the other bosses. So, as is customary, or not this time, we're not going back to Bagaji just yet, because we may have turned the power off, but now without any power, that machine is going berserk. It is going to explode and cause a catastrophe. So we need to stop it. So we're going to go back to through Volks City, which is now Vulcan Inferno instead, and we need to go and switch at least one of the power generators back on. So this is one of the things that Klonoa does, and does do very, very well. It recycles levels. A few of the levels that we've already visited, we are going to be returning to. This is the first one that we go back to. But the game does a very, very good job of reinventing those levels and doing things differently with them. So it really, whilst the layout is roughly the same, it does still feel like quite a different level. So as you can see, when I came through here the first time, I was able to just slide down here without a care in the world. But now we have to wait because the floor is on fire, and see, Klonoa doesn't like fire. There's a very, very unique part of this level that you don't really see in any of the other levels. But again, no spoilers. You'll get to see it soon. Gonna grab this Erbil to fly me up to the top. And you can see the whole city is on fire! What has happened? What catastrophe could have possibly befallen this lovely, lovely place? It's the return of our good friend, the mobile tank Biscar! Run, Klonoa, run! Luckily, because we've got Popka and we can skip a lot of the platforms and stuff here, we can get way more ahead of the tank than the game really expects the player to. So we have a scripted. That is a scripted drop. So the tank will always drop there. But as you can see, we're already making some great gains on him. If you were playing this casually and you were playing it without Popka, you'd probably have the tank pretty much right on your tail for most of this whole section. Okay, we're gonna escape from him for now. Don't worry, folks. He'll be back. I'm gonna play this safe here. I could jump down and take a couple of hits to get over to this electric enemy quicker, but there's also a big risk of me dying, and I'm not feeling it. I'm also feeling quite good that I haven't died yet. Volk is often the location for my first death, and I haven't had it yet. So I'm gonna play it a little bit safe and see if maybe, just maybe, I can get an unintentional deathless run. Grab another Erbil, get him to blast me up into the air. Oh no, we're back outside. You know what that means. It's time for our friend to return. Run, Klonoa, run! Again, we use Popka to get as far away from him as possible. Same little bounce as the first level there. We skip a couple of these bounce pads, and now we are comically ahead of him. At this point, casually, you'd be able to see the tank sort of jumping across the background, and you can tell here there's some fire there behind where I've landed. There's some fire. That is because the game expects the tank to already be there when you land. That's how far ahead of it we are. Another bounce there. We're going to skip that bounce pad. I am going to have to do a little wiggle float. The tank is just no threat to us at all. Look at him all the way back there, poor little bugger. All right, go back inside. That doesn't mean we've lost him yet, because of course we're going straight back outside again. There he is. Grab a life. 11 lives there. That's useful to know. There is a trick coming up later on, which is it's the biggest time skip in the game, and if I don't get it right first try, there's a checkpoint right next to it. I do sometimes get it right first try, but it can take a couple of lives, so it is helpful to try and gather up and keep some lives on standby while we run. So any time where I don't have to go out of my way to grab an extra life or to grab some dreamstones, I do try and do that. So 11 lives should be more than enough. Drop down, but we're going to a cutscene. The train and the tank are about to collide on the tracks. Klonoa quickly ducks down, grabs hold of the track from above him. He's all safe. They're all fine. But that is the Kingdom of Volk. Next, we are going to head over to the Kingdom Mirror. But of course, first we need to know to go there, and of course we're going to go back to Bagaji. So, Tiny Tim, the comms are all yours.
Thank you very much indeed, Nick. Okay, we have received a $20 donation from MJR, who says, thanks, now I know what I will be watching this weekend. Chipping in to eradicate homelessness. Well, thank you very much indeed. And just to point out that they've split that donation, $10 of that has gone towards our bid war for the Resident Evil HD remaster, Jill versus Chris. So we've now got $15 on Chris and nothing towards Jill. And another $10 has gone towards the Cuphead character selection bid war. And you have choices of Cuphead versus Cuphead, Cuphead versus Mugman, or Mugman versus Mugman. And they have put that donation towards $10 towards Cuphead versus Mugman. So one racer will play Cuphead, the other will play Mugman. You do have a bit of time on both of those, but please keep your donations going in. Remember, they all go towards Crisis. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Right, here we are in Ishra's Ark. It has a bit of a sort of Noah's Ark style influence. And what we need to get to Mirror Mirror, we need to power this arc up so that it will take us across an ocean. And to do so, we're going to visit 3 engines, and we're going to power each of those engines up. Except one of them, we're going to try and skip. This is the big skip that I was alluding to in the previous level, which will be coming up very shortly. Ishra's Ark is also a very, very puzzle-heavy level. And we come across our main puzzle enemy. This guy here is called a Liquari. And as you can see, every time you hit an enemy with a Liquari, he changes colour. And then you use the correct coloured Liquari to get through a coloured gem block. It's a really, really nice puzzle mechanic, I think. So 3 hits is red, so we go 1, 2, 3, and reds. All right, and we are coming up. This room is the skip, so I'm just gonna be quiet for a second. No, I knew I hadn't. So you can sort of see what I'm trying to do here. Come on. Yes, second try. By doing that, we can get up here, which we should not be able to do. What we're supposed to do is the key that we've got, we're supposed to go back to a door in the previous room, use that key to open the door. We then visit the engine, switch the engine on, and then the platform that I was jumping from to get to that flying moo, that will start spinning, and then we can use that to travel up to the top. But by using that little trick there, we completely skip that section. And move straight onto engine number 2. Now, the door that I need to go through is just on the left there. Unfortunately, keys are coded to their door. So even though I have a key in my possession right now, because I didn't use it, I still have to go and grab this key, because it's only that key that will open this door. So unfortunately, there goes my unintentional deathless run. I did get an unintentional death. One day I'll manage it. But there are a couple of tricks in the game that you have. You may end up trying a couple of times. You could try that trick that I just did there. You could attempt that 6 or 7 times, and it would still be faster. Oh, it would still be faster than not doing it. It saves about 3 to 4 minutes, I think. Because I'm not sure exactly, because I haven't done the other route in so long. Now, Klonoa is a bit of a reckless lad at times. We do have some emotes that we can use, and that one always makes me chuckle. He has this emote where he throws the ring up in the air, and you can do that whilst he's on a moving platform. Like, Klonoa, if you dropped that, your friend Lolo is in that ring. If you dropped it and lost it, I mean, she's dead, pretty much. It's very, very reckless. I told you before, this game does not teach you good life lessons. Nope. I need to throw that Liquari at that flying moo over there. Oh, come on. He's just sort of... I'm gonna go a bit closer to him. There we go. Throw it at this one, and then this one. There we go. And that's the switch to then turn. So we powered up the engine. We then hit that switch to turn the engine on. Oh, I nearly didn't land that jump. Use Popka there just to skip having to call that elevator down. So that is 2 out of 3 engines done. We are now going to head over to engine number 3. So exactly the same principle. We need to find a key in order to get through into the engine, and then once we found the key, go to the engine, switch it on, power it up, and then go and find the switch to switch it on. This section, there's a little bit more platforming in this section, as you'll see in a second. There we go. We've got some little taunts that we can use as we fly through the air as well. It's one of the nice things about Klonoa as a speedrun. Apart from these little bits that come up where you do have these quite technical glitches, the rest of the run is reasonably comfortable. The reason I've been speedrunning it casually for the last 10 years is the last 5 years I've done my own charity stream every year. I do a 24-hour charity stream. And Klonoa 2 has always been the game that I have done a speedrun of in the early hours of the morning. So sort of 3 o'clock in the morning, that's when I'll then start a run of Klonoa, because it's gentle enough that I don't have to, really, really overexert myself, and it doesn't matter that I'm a bit tired at this point, but also it's engaging enough so that I don't just fall asleep. One of the worst decisions I ever made. Oh, that was silly. One of the worst decisions I ever made during one of my charity speedruns is at about 7 o'clock on the Sunday mornings. I start at 12. I start at 12 o'clock on Saturday afternoon and finish at 12 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. At about 7 o'clock on the Sunday morning, so I've been going for about 20 hours. For some stupid reason, I decided to schedule Hearthstone for that point, and just sitting there playing a really slow card game is a really bad idea when you haven't slept for 20 hours. So Klonoa is a really nice one, just to engaging enough so that I don't fall asleep, but not taxing enough so that I'm going to just make a complete meal of it because I'm so tired. Grabbing that checkpoint there, this next section is a little precarious. I'd like to play it safe, otherwise without that checkpoint it's a long way back. Nearly fell off that ramp. That's what pays to be cautious, folks. And we're just coming up to the end of the level here. You can see the switch there on the right. As soon as I hit that switch, it will be the end of Ishwazark. There we go. And Ishwazark is now on its way to the mountains of Mirror Mirror. And another thing that this game does really well is the pacing. We've just had one of the longest levels in the game. Very, very puzzle heavy, quite slow at times, and a lot to think about. And so the game does a really, really good job of then rewarding that gameplay with what I consider one of the best levels in the entire game. It's another slider level. This is the Mountains of Mirror Mirror, and I'm just going to be quiet and let you appreciate the best piece of music in the entire game. This track is called the Wahoo Stomp, and it's fantastic. All right, I'll start talking again now. This growing up as a kid, this was the one level that me and my brother would just constantly come back and play over and over again. Partly because of the music, partly because it's a really fun level to just sort of slide through. It's a gorgeous looking level with as we go through the village here, the lighting dims, you get this real comfy, cozy mood, and straight back out into the harsh wilderness and the castle, and the big bounce pads. Unfortunately, speedrunning this level, when you speedrun this level, you don't get to listen to the entire track. There's still another 2 minutes of this song, and we don't listen to it. It's the saddest part of the entire run. And that's it, it's over. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna break it down. I'm okay. Oh. All right. Where were we? All right. So, from a very high-speed, action-packed slider level, we go into another very, very puzzle-centric level. This is the Maze of Memories, and this is another gorgeous level. The visuals and the music here are absolutely sublime. It has a very MC Escher influence, and it is a very, very beautiful level, and you should already be able to see why. As I say, very, very puzzle-centric. There's going to be quite a few, and there's a couple of tricks that we use. One that I only learned, as I said earlier, I've been speedrunning this casually for 10 years. One of these tricks I only learnt about a few months ago, and it's the bizarrest trick I've come across in this game so far. Big shout out to the Klonoa 2 community for the work that they put in. Trying to root this, and they've been doing a lot of effort on rooting 100%. Yeah, really big shout out to those guys. But yeah, this one of the tricks coming up is one that I learned from these guys, and it just doesn't make sense. I don't understand why it works, but it does. I need to be at full health here because I'm going to do a little skip here where I take a hit from that enemy and get through that door. We should be going around and grabbing an enemy to kill that guy, but we just damage abuse to get through him. Grab that health just on the safe side. Okay, so here's the skip. We're going to go through this door, use Popka to get over here. We're going to throw Laquari through the floor. It hits that boomy and then blows that up. Do not ask me why that works. It just does. It is the bizarrest skip in the entire run. I don't know why that Laquari can go through the floor, but it just does, and it just hits the boomy, and it's also perfect. It's bizarre. I don't know how it was discovered. It just got recommended to me, and I was just like, this is insane. And the wonderful thing about it is the first time I watched it, I thought, oh wow, I bet that is like so precise, and it takes a long time to learn and make sure you're in the exact right spot so that when you throw the Laquari, it does work. Nope. I did it first try, and I very, very rarely mess it up because it is super easy to pull off. It does not make sense that a trick that dumb is also that easy. But it is. So yeah, once again, a huge shout out to the Klonoa community, and particularly the guys who run Klonoa 2 for finding those tricks. They do have a Discord server. If you are interested in running Klonoa 2 or any Klonoa game in the series, then find any of the Klonoa games on speedrun.com, and you will find a link to the Klonoa 2, the Klonoa speedrunning Discord. All right, we've got our final little puzzle of this level. We need to use different enemies to get through some different obstacles. So we grab this boomy. I'm going to take this boomy over to the Electro's room because we need to blow that up. If you leave a boomy, leave the room, and then go back in, the boomy automatically explodes. So that sped that up a bit. We're then going to use this, the Electro enemy, to open up a route to the Liquari in this room. And we're also now going to abuse Popka once again. Normally what you do casually, you go back to the Boomy room, grab the Boomy and take it with you to the Liquari room. Because whilst we're carrying this Liquari, we can't get up to this Boomy because we'd have to grab those lungs. But because we've got Popka, we can just skip that and do that. Very important as you're going through there that if you've thrown a Liquari and you're waiting for that Liquari to come back to you, you can't go through a door. If you go through a door before the Liquari has returned to you, it will explode and you can't use it. So you do have to make sure you just wait for the Liquari to be back in Klonoa's hand and then run through the door. All right. Moving onwards. We've got another boss fight, and this is our first slider boss. It's our first slider boss of the game. This is Polonte the Hatchling, and this is a boss that is either going to be over I wouldn't say very quickly. This is a boss where if the one slightest thing goes wrong, and it is quite RNG dependent as well, this is either going to take a couple of minutes, or it's going to take not quite double that time, but a bit longer. At this point in the game, Klonoa's ring isn't working. Lolo is feeling very sorry for herself. She doesn't think she's doing a very good job as a priestess, and she's leaving Klonoa to do this on his own because she doesn't think she's being helpful. So for this first bit, rather than like throwing an enemy at Polonte, we're just bashing straight into him. But during the second phase of this fight, which is coming up very shortly, we're going to have to throw some moves at him, and those moves are going to surf towards me, and there are exactly enough moves to do all of his health. But as those moves come towards me, they will go past me if I don't grab them. So if I miss any of them, I then have to do this whole section that I'm doing here, where I'm going down this corridor. I will have to repeat this. So how exactly they move is RNG. So that's one. The second set is the worst. No, I missed two of them. The speed at which they come towards you and the placement are all RNG. So I didn't get very good RNG there. So now we have to go down this whole section again. Luckily, I think I went a little over the top with how much time you lose, but it is a good chunk. There we go, and that is Polonte. Sadly, the RNG gods not on my side of this boss today. Just gonna skip through that cutscene. So the difference with this area is by the time we get to the bell, Liarina has got there first, and Liarina rings the bell and gets given a dark element. And we don't know how she's managed this. Only priestesses are supposed to be able to ring the bells. So, of course, we go back to Bagagy to find out why. So, over to you, Tiny Tim.
I knew that was my clue, my cue. Yeah. Okay, we have received another donation here. We've received $20 from Jad. Hey. Such a fun game to watch, as always. Good luck with the run, Nick.
Hey, Jad.
Thank you so much indeed, Jad, for that donation. And that goes towards our super secret bonus run, which is now sitting on $230 out of 500, so nearly halfway there on that. So keep those donations coming in. Remember, all your donations go towards supporting Crisis. Please, please, please keep your donations coming in. We've got $780, not far off 800 now. But let's see if we can we get 1,000 by the end of the run? I think we can. Let's get those donations in. Thank you very much indeed.
Awesome. So, as I alluded to earlier, there's a lot of levels that the game recycles, and this is the next one. So we already came through here once. this was Liquisha, and you may be wondering why I just jumped over the top of that. There is supposed to be a coloured gem gate that we're supposed to get through, but by not walking on the floor in that opening section of the room, it doesn't spawn. So that's why I jumped over the top like that. Now, what's happened is this whole area, for whatever reason, when Liarina rang the bell, the darkness in the world got excuse me, the darkness in the world got even worse. So this level feels very different. It's all very eerie. It's much darker and moodier than it was before. And whenever we're inside, there is this weird mist it's basically like gas. So Klonoa has an oxygen level. His oxygen level increases when he goes past these statues. I'm going to try... I didn't get it. That is another very, very precise trick, which, again, I don't think I've ever gotten into a run. At a very, very precise angle, you can throw an enemy across. You can see just on the other side of the room. Oh, I threw that Liquari just slightly the wrong location. On the other side of the room, you'll see that there's an alarm clock, which is the checkpoint. You can, at a very, very precise angle, throw an enemy across the room and hit that alarm clock, and that would allow you to skip that whole section of throwing that Liquari that I just did. Unfortunately, as I say, it is very, very precise. So I have, again, it's another one of those tricks. Whoops, I actually need that. It's one of those tricks that I have managed in practice, but I've never managed to get into a run. Back outside again, back out to the statue. And again, you can see everything's just all dark and eerie, and you can tell that there's evil in the air. It's not a subtle game. Klonoa 2 does not pride itself on subtlety. It is very front and center with its mood and things. Jump up here. Gonna just move over to there to make sure that move spawns. And then we got another little 2.5D abuse that we can do out here. If you remember the first time we came through here, there was a pendulum, and we had to hit the pendulum to break some blocks. There's only one block here, and we're supposed to go around. What I'm going to attempt to do, and this one is another one that's not particularly easy. Come on. Okay, I practiced this one quite a bit before this run. There we go. Come on. Come on. Is that high enough? No. All right, I'm gonna do it the normal way. This is taking too long. I just have to go around. Just go around to here and throw it across there instead. But when done right, you can get again a rather precise angle to get the pendulum to just hit it straight away. I didn't have that much trouble in practice. I don't know what was going wrong there, but it is quite a tricky one. So we come to the end of Noxious Liquisha, and we now have 5 cutscenes to skip through. 5 cutscenes to basically tell us that Liarina was once a priestess in training. Shock, shock, horror. You know, as soon as Lolo tells you that only a priestess should be able to ring the bell, you know, that should immediately be alarm bells ringing. Maybe Liarina is also a priestess. Nope. They don't think that, and they need 5 cutscenes to be told it. So now we are rushing back to the Sea of Tears, the very first level that we did at the very start of the run, in order to stop Liarina from ringing the last bell here. She's already collected a bunch of elements, and you know, she has evil in her heart. We can't let her have the elements. And as you can see, it's very dark in this level now. The lights have gone out. There's a lot of darkness. We're having to use this enemy as a torch to get these things to fight off the darkness. If you haven't guessed, this level is now called the Dark Sea of Tears. Like I said before, Klonoa 2 is not known for its subtlety. And we have got another reasonable skip coming up here. This is a special skip for me. It's the first skip that someone taught me whilst I was streaming a run. And I've already messed it up. I already did my inputs in the wrong order, so I'm going to try again. So if Axel Sango is watching, thank you, Axel Sango. Again, this is the other skip where I said that it can take a few attempts. Oh, I forgot to wiggle. Come on, come on, come on! No! Oh, it's trying me. It's trying me. That feels better. No, it's still not enough. It's still not enough. All right, I'm gonna try this one more time, and if it doesn't work, I'm just gonna have to go round. It saves a good minute and a bit, so I probably haven't. Nope. Come on, Green. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. No. All right, I'm gonna go round. I'm gonna go round. I can't make it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I just can't get over. So we will instead take a left and go around this way instead. Ah. So it doesn't save a huge amount of time, but this entire section just ran the back from this cannon. I should be here. This is where I would have started out. So little bit of time wasted in there. All right, we don't get the birds that we flew on last time. Instead, we're gonna go across some platforms in the ocean that have suddenly appeared. Apparently, the arena ringing the bell had the power. Oh, excuse me. Had the power to produce a load of boats and platforms in the sea for some reason. Don't really know why, but that's where we're at. There's a boat. We don't know if that's Lee Arena's boat. It's just a boat there for some reason now. Come on. There we go. Get another one of those. Oh, that little fairy thing that's following me doubles the jam count whilst it's active. It's not useful at all in any percent speedrun. In a 100% speedrun, it is very important. Because in order to get all of the Dreamstones in a level, you do need to use that efficiently to make sure you're getting the right ones. There are 150 Dreamstones in every level. And that
Hello there, folks. Just bear with us while we're just getting this technical issue resolved. We've just got a couple of wee technical problems there. We'll be right back with the run very shortly. Just bear with us, okay? Thank you for your patience. Okay there, folks. Welcome back. You're watching UKSG Autumn 2021 Benefiting Crisis. We should be back now, and we'll be ready to resume the Klonoa run. Looking all silky smooth now. Okay. There you go, Nick. Take it away.
Let's restart in 3, 2, 1, go. So we got to the end of the level. Unfortunately, Liarina did get there first. She rang the bell, and chaos has ensued. She now has every element, and as you can see, she has drained the Sea of Tears. So now we have to travel through the empty Sea of Tears. Again, like I said, not known for its subtlety is Klonoa 2. The Empty Sea of Tears is our next slider level. We're going to be sliding across the sand. And again, another lovely piece of music here. It has this piece of music includes Klonoa's theme, which I'll point out when that bit of music is that particular motif is coming, and it's now. So that motif that you heard there, that is Klonoa's theme. And it's this point in the game where everything's gone wrong. We've got this, kind of urgent piece of music, and things have really taken a turn. This is the point in the game where it kind of now sort of tells you, okay, now's the time where we need to pick up the pace a bit. You've been going for a little over an hour. You need to pick up the pace. You need to work a bit harder. And some of this is where the run does start to become a little more tricky. Luckily, not with this level. The slider levels aren't overly taxing. There's a little bit more here with moments that you could fall off, but it's not really too much of an issue for this level. So we're just gonna glide across the sands, past these giant holes in the floor, grabbing more lives. Not that we really need the lives. Oh, and that's why we have Popka on standby during a slider level. For moments like that, I just jumped a little too early. So thankfully my good buddy Popka was there to save the day. Alright. If I'm perfectly honest, there's not really a lot to say during this level. So if you've got any more donations or messages, Tim, go for it.
Oh, we do indeed. We have received another donation. We've received another $20 from Atreus, who says to donate for this beautifully joyous game and the adventurous spirit of Nick, who is bringing this run even more to life.
Oh.
Let's get more animal sidekicks into the marathon. My money's on Tails.
Thank you for that. That was really nice.
Now, anyone got a PS2 to throw me so I can sink my teeth into this gem? Well, you're not alone there, Atreus. This really has piqued my interest in this game. I have actually seen the one and only Argic running the first game, or playing the first game. But I do really, really think this game is absolutely fantastic, and Nick is doing an amazing job. So thank you so much for your donation there. And that does go indeed towards getting our Fox Buddy Tails into the marathon there. And let me have a little look at that. Ringing Tails is now up to $75 out of $100. Only $25 to go before we get Tails. And we've also hit $800 now raised for Crisis. Let's keep those donations coming in. Thank you so much.
Absolutely fantastic. It is worth pointing out that there are only 2 ways to play Klonoa 2 at the moment. As you probably know, PlayStation 2 emulators are usually banned for most PlayStation 2 games because it's not a very accurate emulator, and Klonoa 2 is no different. So the only ways of playing Klonoa 2 are either using a PS2, or if you've got the original PlayStation 3, where you could play PS2 games on it. It's never released digitally, it's never been remastered or remade. The only version that's ever been released in is as a PlayStation 2 retail copy. If anyone from Namco Bandai is watching, please re-release this game in some form. I don't want a remake. I don't want necessarily a remaster. I just want another way to play this game without having to play it on a PS2. Not to say that the PS2 is bad or anything, but it would make life a little bit easier. Because Klonoa 2 has a unique quirk to it, which makes streaming it quite annoying. Because I have a PAL PS2 and a PAL copy of the game. This was when that was not very good RNG for where Liarina decided to land, and I've taken another death. Oh, by the way, this monster that we're fighting, this is Liarina. She's had a bit of a makeover. The power kind of went to her head a little bit, and she's turned into a giant monster. So we've got to now fight Liarina. But as I was saying, because I have a PAL copy of the game and a PAL PS2, the game asks you when you first boot the game up if you want to play it in 50 or 60 hertz. And for the longest time, I didn't know that the game runs about 1.2 times quicker in 60 hertz. So this speedrun used to take me well over 2 hours. And then the first run I ever did, where I switched it to 60 hertz instead of 50 hertz, I automatically saved 20 minutes, which was insane. I got some. That was some nice RNG for the final part of that boss. That was quite nice. So the problem is, and you may have seen it throughout the run, there may have been times where you've seen me stop, or I've not gone to click no on saving the game. In fact, it just happened there. For some reason, the game outputs in 60 hertz 480i when you select 60 hertz. But whenever there is a loading transition, so anytime there's a black screen, like right now, the resolution changes and then quickly changes back again. And for when you're converting the signal digitally, you know, if you're using an HDMI cable or an HDMI upscaler or something like that, every time you get a loading screen, the screen refreshes and you're left with a black screen. So the game kicks back up again, but you're still looking at black screen, which is why sometimes during loading screens or just after loading screen, you'll notice I was just stood there for a second not doing anything. And that's because I can't see and I don't want to run off in case I run into something or take a death. Because there are a couple of rooms where if you just start running straight away, you'll just take a hit. So I can't run this using HDMI. I have to run this on a very specific TV, which uses component cables instead, because having an analog signal isn't quite as bad. All right, I've talked throughout the run a little bit about intentional deaths, and this is the reason. I'm now on 1 health, and I'm going to be attempting a glitch. I'm going to attempt this 3 times throughout the run. No, it happened again. No, it happened again. I did this for the first time in practice earlier today. What? Unfortunately, that means I have to start the level again. What happens? And again, we don't quite know why it happens, but we sort of have a guess. When you throw, what we're trying to do in this level is we're trying to stop the arc. So this is Ishra's arc revisited. We are trying to stop the arc, and to stop the arc, we're throwing a boomy into each engine. Now, when we throw the boomy into an engine, it starts off an explosion sequence. and we then have to run to the nearest outdoor section. Oh, wrong button. To escape. What we try and do with each engine is we throw a boomy in, but have the boomy and then kill ourselves so that the explosion is triggered, but we transport back to the previous checkpoint. So I haven't got the checkpoint in this room. Got it? Okay, so do that. Now I think that's too slow. That was indeed too slow. So unfortunately, what happened there is the boomy exploded, then a checkpoint was created, and so as soon as I reloaded that checkpoint, it triggered the explosion and moved on. If you get the timing right, we're going to be trying this 3 times throughout the run because there are 3 engines. If you get the timing right and you take a death quickly enough, the explosion still triggers and Klonoa is transported. The explosion still triggers and Klonoa is transported back to the previous checkpoint because we haven't hit the checkpoint in this room yet. And unfortunately, I am making a right old meal of it. And I'm still continuing to make a bit of a meal of it. I'm gonna just concentrate for a second. I'm gonna take this next jump a little safer as well. I went for the risky jump, and I shouldn't have done. I should have just grabbed the helicopter enemy. There we go. Right. Keep moving. So now that we're back outside, the explosion happens, and we are shot off to the next location. We are now being assisted by Liarina and Tat. After she got turned into a giant monster, she's now sort of realised, oh no, what I've done was wrong, and we have her redemption arc. So she's now helping us every time we get blasted off from the explosion. She's going to catch us in her plane, and she's going to help us on our way. There we go, and we're through. So we're coming up to engine number 2, so we're going to try the exact same trick again. Now, engine 2 is normally the most difficult. I should point out, this isn't a skip that you're always guaranteed to get. It is quite precise. I think that Popka wasn't quite ready to go again. Come on, Nick, get your concentration face on. There we go. I'll make sure I keep this to run up there. There we go. Okay. So we need to. We're on our way to grab the key. So we're actually going to see a few areas of the level that we didn't see first time round. If you were doing a 100% run, then we would have come over here and grabbed the stuff that was over here. But because we're just doing any percent and getting through as quickly as possible, there's a few areas that we didn't get to see first time round. So that makes it a bit more interesting. And again, as we head over towards the engine, I want to start taking damage. I want to be on 1 health so that I can immediately try and take a death. Engine room 2 is probably the most difficult. The last marathon I did showcase I did for the very first time get all 3 skips. Okay, I think that was too slow. That was too slow. So unfortunately, we triggered the checkpoint before the death. So luckily, when you make the mistake like that. You don't lose a lot of time. You know, this is what would have happened normally if you'd not attempted the trick. But if you do get it right, it does save a good chunk of time. Luckily, engine 2 is probably the shortest trip back outside. And we're back outside. So that's how much we would have skipped. So engine 2's not too bad. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll get it with engine 3. so that I can at least show you what happens. But here we have another on-rail section. This section is quite long, and is it's a very strange design for the arc. Like, these things come down and you have to throw enemies at them. It's like, what are they? How do these function? What function did these things provide to this arc? Is it a security system? Because it's a very strange security. Why would you need a security system specifically designed on the off chance a plane decides to fly underneath the arc? It's a very, very bizarre sequence that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Luckily, it will be over very, very shortly. I just got to get up over this hump. So very, very, very strange design, and just completely breaks the flow of this level. It's probably that whole section is probably my least favorite part of the whole game, because it just doesn't make any sense, and as I say, the flow of the level just kind of comes to a grinding halt. We do the same trick that we did in the first level here. If we use Popka, get up and over, we don't have to feed the giant worm. You may have noticed as well that we've done the engines in a different order to the first time we came around. So in the first level, when we came here and switched all the engines on, this was engine 1 that we are approaching now. We're doing engine 1 last this time. So again, another good example of how the game recycles the levels, but does stuff very differently with them to make them feel like different levels. Adam, that's that can be a particularly scary jump, and I'm going to have to do it again now because I died there instead. There we go. All right, we're through. It's all good. Okay, so we're now going to take this cannon and get over to engine number 1. I love that noise. If we get this boomy in just the right spot. I didn't get it. Oh, well. Nope. You can, again, very, very, very precise. You can have that boomy land on that black spike enemy and blow up the block there. But again, it's another very, very precise trick. Oh, nope, that move decided to drop right down very quickly. There we go. Oh, I'm supposed to jump first. Come on. If you are just tuning in and seeing how badly I'm getting through this level, I wasn't joking. I have been speedrunning this for 10 years, and apparently I've still got a way to go. Making all sorts of mistakes. There we go. We've got another cool trick here. Hopefully. Yeah, got it right. So I talked about that earlier when we were back in the underground passage. If you throw a boomy across a room, eventually, after a certain time, it will just explode. And that's exactly what happened there. So I threw that boomy from a point where it exploded in the air just as it reached the block there. So that was pretty good. At least I got one thing right about this level. All right, so through to engine number 3. Oh, excuse me, I appear to be losing my voice somewhat, which isn't good because I'm on hosting duty later. If you enjoy the sound of this croak, then join me again for the Metal Gear Solid block. All right, so take some damage. Okay, was that quick enough? Huzzah! I got one right! There we go. So we just go straight back out and in again. And that is the engine skip. I got 1 out of 3. 1 out of 3 engine skips. I did say to myself before this run, I was going to donate $10 for every engine skip I missed. So 20 extra dollars on top of whatever I was going to donate will be on its way after this run. All right, so this is the very last traditional platforming level of the game. This is the Kingdom of Sorrow. So when Liarina drained the Sea of Tears, we discovered that there was a fifth kingdom. There was a fifth kingdom that everyone had forgotten about, and this is the Kingdom of Sorrow. It's quite a slow level. It has this very, very slow, drawn-out piece of music. And this level is, because it's so late in the run, and the way it is, it really gives you that kind of feeling of, you know, go on, keep going. Just a little bit more. You're almost there. Oh, I need to grab a boot. There we go. More time switches there. So it really sort of invokes that feeling of it's, you just got to keep on plodding along. It's so close. Just give it that all. And there's
Sorry to interrupt. Referring to the music, do we have a moment for a donation?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, we have received $50
Woo!
from Philly. Thank you so much indeed. Getting so many nostalgia tingles from this soundtrack. Thank you for running this classic for a great cause part. Well, thank you so much indeed for that amazingly generous donation. That has gone towards the super secret bonus run.
Yeah.
Which is getting really close. It's getting closer now. That is now, I will just very quickly check where that's sitting. That is now sitting at over halfway now. We're 255 out of 500. So please keep those donations coming in. We've raised $850 for Crisis. Please keep those donations coming in. Thank you so much for your generosity.
That's awesome. I'm glad people are also really enjoying the music. It's one of the things that keeps me coming back to this game. It has such a lovely soundtrack and so varied as well. You know, I think the best example was the one I talked about right towards the start, where we went to Julian's, which was the kingdom of fun and light, and you have this really lovely circus soundtrack, and then you go to the kingdom of Volk, where you get this jazzy number, and you know, it's all sort of a bit gritty and a bit edgy. And, you know, it's such a really well designed design of variants, both in the visuals, in the music, and in the gameplay as well. It all marries together so well, and you know, as a result, it is one of the best platforms. It's one of the best games that no one ever played. It did not sell very well, particularly outside of Japan. And it's an absolutely wonderful game. Even if you've got no interest in speedrunning it, I would absolutely recommend picking this up and just giving it a casual playthrough. Of course, I am doing any percent. There is a 100% run as well. There are lots of things to collect and do in the game. There's a couple of bonus levels that you're not going to see me do because we need some collectibles in order to unlock them. So what I'm showing you here really is just a bare bones section of what this game has to offer. And yeah, I would strongly recommend anyone try and the problem with it is, like I said earlier, is that a PS2 physical disc is the only release this game ever had. It never had a digital release. It's never been remastered. Oh. This is my least favorite puzzle of the entire game, because it's not really a puzzle. It's just annoying. Because every time you miss, you have to go back and do it again. I'm gonna play it safe. I'm just gonna wait for the. There we go. We'll just wait for the flying moose to just fly all the way around. So it's right in front of me. There we go. And I can't miss. There we go. We've got a similar puzzle here, which isn't quite as annoying. There we go. See that one's much easier. And then we've got one more here. Again, this one's not too difficult. The first one isn't really difficult. It's just difficult to do very quickly. And every time you miss, you have to start it again. So that one's nice and simple. We have got a small skip coming up. It requires a quite precision-timed popka jump. And if I get it wrong and take a death, it is worth trying it one more time. Even on 2 attempts at doing it, it's still faster than going around. If I fail it after 2 times, then I should just keep moving, because then it starts to become a time loss. But just this final section of the game, there's a lot of just sort of waiting around for things to move. Like this flying lum here. But it is a nice learning curve as well for the game, because you do sort of get this really big build up, and you get to this point, and it does test you. You know, how are your precision shots whilst in midair? You know, how have your puzzle skills been? It does sort of throw everything at you for the very end of the game, and go. I do hope that you've been thinking about what you're doing and you've developed your skills properly, because you're going to need them. And the final level before the final boss is no exception. After this level, we're going to have our final slider level, and throughout the run so far, the slider levels have been relatively simple. Not too many issues. Not too many things to sort of worry about. No deaths. And the final slider level kind of just comes at you and goes, you know how you've been having fun on these slider levels? You've been like, yeah, I'm snowboarding, I'm surfing, this is awesome. Well, I hope you were paying attention, because now we're going to test those skills to the limit. And as a result, the final slider level can be quite brutal, particularly for a casual play. But we'll talk more about that when we come to that level in a second. Okay, here is the skip. I'm going to just take a moment. 1, 2, 3. No. All right, I'm not gonna try again just because I'm already this far over. But yeah, what you saw me do there is try and grab the lum. You do have to again abuse the 2.5D to sort of go out of your way and spin to grab it. I was very, very close, but just couldn't quite do it. So if I got it right, I'd already be on this lum here. That's the one I was trying to grab. Just use Popka to get to the end of that. That's a good 45 seconds when you get that right. That's a bounce over because that is quicker. Gets me over that. Got to be careful here because I do only have 1 health, which isn't ideal. I would like to be a bit safer and have another heart, but we are very rapidly approaching the end of the level. In fact, this is the final room of this level. Final room of traditional left to right platforming. So I'm just going to wait. As soon as I see that pillar on the right hand side that I've just jumped on top of, as soon as I see that whole pillar appear in frame on the right hand side, I can bounce off here and get up to it. So just waiting to see that next pillar. There it is, all in frame. Jump, Popka jump, little glide. For this last one, this is the very last one. I'm just going to bounce off this bounce pad twice, and that is enough for me to then use Popka to get over. And that is the end of the Kingdom of Sorrow. So, we are very, very close to the end of the run. We've got one more slider level, and then the final boss. And as I said before, this final slider level really sort of throws a curveball at you. The difficulty curve for slider levels in general just shoots up the Forgotten Path. One of the scary things about the Forgotten Path is throughout the game you'll have seen that I've grabbed little clocks, and the clocks are checkpoints. Keep an eye out for the moment I hit the first checkpoint in this level. I'm gonna get Popker out just in case. We don't use Popker for any skips. It's just a safety net. But just keep an eye out. And think, and when it hits, think about how long it's been since the start of the level when I hit that first checkpoint. Of course, if you die, you go back to the previous checkpoint, and if you haven't hit a checkpoint yet in the game, in the level you're in, you start the level again. We're now following these. Still haven't hit a checkpoint. Oh, there we go. There's the first checkpoint. So it's a little bit nasty. And the second checkpoint is also a considerable distance. Usually, whenever you go into a new room, there's a checkpoint right at the start of the room, and there isn't here. No checkpoint in this room. So we have a considerable trek to go back if we were to take a death in here. Now, blah, 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 if I can get my words out, Forgotten Path isn't a level that I struggle with, so I'm hoping not to get a death. I will openly admit the last couple of levels have been dreadful. Some of the deaths and stuff that I've gotten, I am not proud of. And finally, as we drop down to here, we hit checkpoint 2. That's the scariest thing about this level. The checkpoints are quite wildly spread out. And then we have these very, very thin portions. And of course, throughout every slider level, I'm holding forwards. I'm holding forwards right now because Klonoa moves slightly faster whilst moving forwards. If I held backwards, Klonoa would slow right down. But of course, I don't want him to slow down. This is a speed run. I need to go as fast as I possibly can. So even through some of these really, really tight sections, I really, really don't want to have to let go of forwards. And this bit in particular can be quite tight. But we're okay. We're good. Luckily, Forgotten Path is not a particularly long level. A little bit of spamming there. And we're done. Forgotten Path over. We have one final hurdle to pass. We have got the final boss of the game. And of course, what does every kingdom need to have? It needs to have a king. Final boss is the King of Sorrow. This boss is in 2 stages. We have a short slider section, and then we go to a more traditional around the boss. This slider section that we're going into, we've already met the king. The previous cutscene that I just skipped, we met the King of Sorrow. He looks quite similar to Klonoa, actually. It does not explain at all what is going on here. If you've played this game casually, you might also know. Nothing explains what this thing is. I don't know if it's a piece of transport and the King of Sorrow is inside it. Don't know if it's some sort of security robot. There is no. All that happens is Klonoa wipes out for a second, and when he wakes up, he's in this tunnel following this thing with no explanation as to why. It is very bizarre, but one more hit and it will explode and we'll go through to the second half of the fight. Now, like the other bosses, the the next part of the fight is also done in 2 stages. He has 2 health bars. So time will be on the final hit of the 2nd health bar. So at the moment he's got a purple health bar, and the globe, the sort of security globe that's around him, is orange. For the 2nd phase, that globe will be blue instead. So it's about to. Unfortunately, I got a little unlucky with those. There we go. Just keep bouncing that round. Just one more hit to go through to stage 2. There we go. So that's through to stage 2. So that bright light that you've seen there, as soon as I land the final hit and that bright light goes off again, that is the end of the boss. I also only have 1 bit of health, so I need to be a little careful. 1 more hit. 1 more hit. Time! That is it. Oh. That was quite rough. Quite rough for the last couple of levels. But we got there in the end. There he is, that's the King of Sorrow. And as you can see, he's saying, "Help me." Throughout the entire game, Klonoa has been hearing this mysterious voice saying, "Help me, help me." And he's not known who it was, and he discovers right at the end that it was our main antagonist, the King of Sorrow, the whole time. Because people have forgotten how to be sad and forgotten what sadness is about, and he needs help teaching the world again. But that's it. That is Klonoa 2 Lunatea's Veil. I hope you enjoyed it. Is Tim? Hello? Tim, if you're there and talking, you're muted in Discord.
I am here, sorry.
There we go.
The doorbell rung. Okay, well, thank you so much, Nick, for an amazing run. I hope everybody enjoyed that. Yeah, no, unfortunately, emergency doorbell. I do apologise, folks. That was absolutely a fantastic run. Thank you so much indeed. Nick, I hope you enjoyed. Have you got anything else? Are you quite happy?
Thank
anything
you.
Else
Thank you very much for having me. As I said before, if you're interested in running any Klonoa game, find any of them on speedrun.com, and you'll find a link to the Discord server there. They're a great community doing lots of great work on these games, so go and check them out. And I will be back for the Metal Gear block on hosting duties.
Thank you very much indeed. Greatly appreciated. Okay, folks, stay with us. We'll be right back very shortly. We're going to go for a quick intermission, and we will be back with the next one, which is going to be one of my favourites, Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest, with Ryan Ford. Stay with us.